Welcome to episode 2 of the Split Ply podcast. I'm Hunk FB and I'm here with the other host, Mint FB. How's it going, Mint?
It's going. Excited for episode 2. I can't believe it's already here, man.
Yeah, I know. The reception on this first episode was so crazy. So we're really thankful for all of you guys for watching and leaving comments and even reaching out to us in the DMs. That was super nice of you guys. Since we're coming up to Thanksgiving, we thought it would be nice to talk about what we're thankful for when it comes to fingerboarding. So is there one specific fingerboard product that you're really thankful for?
I don't know. I was thinking about this because we kind of have like our general ideas of what to talk about, but we kind of riff it and just let it flow like a conversation. So I haven't really like solidified one, but my instinct that comes to mind is abstract wheels from Redemption Fingerboards, because when you're first getting into fingerboarding, it's kind of like daunting to spend like a good like $40 to $50 on a set of wheels or whatever. And I kept on reading all this stuff about abstract wheels and how crazy his deals were on Instagram, where you can get a bunch of free B sets and stuff. And his wheels are about on par with other people's prices. I'd say like 35 bucks ish is like the average. And so I finally took the plunge when he had one of those crazy sales. I just went all in. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try out these wheels. And he had like the best customer service I've ever seen. And those wheels serve me well to this day. Like they're my safe go-to wheels when I just want like a solid, comfortable, durable, silent, non-free spin wheels. I just toss those on a setup and I always have them available. I've been using every set. Every set is still working flawlessly. I don't know. I just think he brings a lot of value to the fingerboarding scene, and he gives you that value without sacrificing the quality. So they're very nostalgic for me. I'll always have a soft spot for abstract wheels. I kind of prefer softer wheels nowadays, but man, I've been riding a pair of my old Street Shape abstract wheels, and they're just as good as ever, man. But what about you? What specific fingerboard product are you thankful for?
Yeah, so to be honest, I haven't really bought too many fingerboard products. I have like 2 or 3 pro boards that I've bought. I bought a flat face G15 board, a Sorry for Fingerboards deck, and actually a Redemption's fingerboard, so kind of the counterpart to abstract wheels. I honestly don't have like too much of a preference, I guess, right now, because I haven't really had enough free time to really try out all these different products, or really the funds to really afford it all. But
you're just more responsible than us. You can say it. I'll accept it. I'm honestly jealous. I wish I had your self-control sometimes. But
I know,
yeah.
I find myself constantly scrolling through Instagram like, oh, I gotta buy that, and then I kind of have to reel myself back and be like, no. I can't spend everything on fingerboarding. I have actually tried abstract wheels and I really do like them. I totally agree with you that it's great to have like a silent wheel. They're kind of like one of the first real pro wheels that I've been super happy with. I've had a lot of problems with other wheels in the past, even though I haven't tried too many. I may have just been getting a bad bunch of them, but I've had like a lot of wheels have bearing slip, where the wheel will slip right past the bearing onto the axle of the truck, and that can be really annoying to deal with. And then also just cheaper wheels that have like that free spin bearing to them. I find that they can work really great within like, the first 10 minutes of you using them. But I find if they ever like fall off the table that you're fingerboarding on, or if you get any sort of dirt in the bearings, they'll immediately clog up and then they won't even roll anymore. So I find that, abstract wheels have been super durable and like really worked well for me. I never have any problems with the bearing slip or any problems with them clogging up at all. They always just roll the same speed and they're really reliable for me. So I really like abstract wheels as well. But I think in a more general sense, I would just say that the product that I'm the most thankful for when it comes to fingerboarding is foam grip tape. Because when I used to fingerboard, I used to strictly use tech decks, and that sandpaper grip tape really wears on your fingers after a while. Like if you fingerboard for like maybe an hour or two with that sandpaper grip tape, you're almost guaranteed to have like bleeding fingers at the end of it. It's really bad. And I even remember that skateboarding, like when you have fresh grip on your board and you go to throw down your board, it would kind of like tear away at your thumb. And if you're skateboarding for a couple hours, your thumb's going to be all beaten up and might even bleed sometimes. So I think foam grip tape has been the best thing for me. Not only does it let you have more longevity with your fingerboard sessions, but it also, I find it's just more grippy with like sandpaper grip tape. It works well with shoes because it's rubber against that sandpaper that can really catch your shoe and really bring the board up into the air. But obviously our fingers aren't made of rubber. So using something like foam grip tape is abrasive enough that it will actually catch on your fingers, but it's a lot more gentle and it won't like tear up your fingers. So I'm super grateful that people were smart enough, smarter than I ever was, to come up with the idea to use foam grip tape. It was really smart, and I'm super grateful for that.
That's a really good one, honestly. I always forget because like I kind of got into this later. Like I definitely use tech decks and stuff, and there's a jarring difference between using tech decks with sandpaper grip tape and foam grip tape. That's a very good point. I think that's a crazy, crazy evolution for fingerboarding in general. And I also agree that the most important thing I think when it comes to wheels is the bearing lock mechanism. Like I feel like wheels seem very hard to get right and very time consuming to get right, at least from what I've talked to and witnessed before. So yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. Do you have a specific like brand of grip tape or a specific kind, specific thickness? Like what's your preferences when it comes to grip tape, like foam grip tape?
Yeah, so I've tried like a handful of different grip tapes. I've tried, I believe it's Rip Tape that the flat face boards usually come with, and that stuff is pretty good. I really had no problems with it, but for me, I definitely prefer a thinner grip tape. So something like G Sheets, I believe theirs is 0.8 millimeters. That's a really great grip tape. That's one of my favorite brands for sure. I haven't tried their newest formula, the V3, but I have a lot of their V2 grip tape, and I really can't recommend it enough. It's amazing. And I've also tried out Your Tape, which is a bit thinner. It's a 0.5 millimeter grip tape, and it's amazing too. It really like feels like there's no break-in time for that grip tape specifically. I feel like as soon as I put my fingers on the board, I'm just able to hit the ground running and do all the tricks that I'm normally doing. So both of those grip tapes have been great, but again, I haven't really tried too much outside of that. The only other grip tape that I can think of that I've tried is I bought some cheap Amazon grip tape, and although it works for the time being, like it's good enough grip tape, and if you're just upgrading from sandpaper grip tape, it's fine. I feel like it didn't really last me very long, and it started to wear thin really quickly. If you're in a pinch, it doesn't hurt to get some Amazon grip tape. You can get like a pack of 20 for $5, so you can't really go wrong there. But the higher quality grip tape really shows how much time and effort they've put into actually really getting a solid formula that works well. So yeah, I would highly recommend either G Sheets or Your Tape. Those are great companies.
I still have yet to try out like Your Tape. I think maybe I have. I'm not sure, but I'll put that on the list for sure.
Yeah, it's super good. Speaking of which, so I'm someone who, again, like I said earlier, hasn't bought too many fingerboard products. And even with my very first pro fingerboard, my flat face G15 board, I held on to that thing for, I want to say almost 2 years, maybe a year and a half. And I used it nonstop. Wow. It was the only board that I used. So for me personally, I'm not really a big fan of setting up boards. I find that it's kind of tedious, and I'm also not very good with my hands. I know a lot of people in this scene are really good at carpentry or metalwork and stuff like that, so they're used to working with their hands. But for me, I come from like a programming, coding background. So yeah, I can type with my fingers, but I can't really do anything too nitty gritty. And I'm always finding that I'm dropping the screws and stuff, and it ends up being a whole ordeal. So I wanted to ask you, as someone who does buy a lot of boards, do you actually enjoy setting up fingerboards?
Yeah. I think it's like strangely, I think that's why people enjoy fingerboard setup videos so much. Like I haven't really made much. I've like probably put only one on the channel, but I feel like there's something like therapeutic or kind of oddly like in the ASMR category of like setting up a fingerboard, where it's like a ritualistic thing that's the same every time, but you can also do it well every time or try to do it better every time. And it's just exciting. Like it's like the build up, as corny as that sounds. Like you have this new board, or maybe it's like a whole new setup, and you're putting it together and you're like, I can't wait to shred this thing and try it out. It's just like a whole experience. I feel like if you don't get to set up the board, like a third of that experience is already gone, you know? That's a huge part of it for me, at least. Like I've gotten stuff from Run It Back where like I got an Antidote board off of Run It Back for like super cheap, and it was already set up for me, and I've really enjoyed it, but I was like, man, I wish I could have set this up myself. So I definitely am in the wheelhouse of like sitting down with like putting a video on in the background, or have my headphones on and just vibing and putting together a board. Nothing beats it. But you enjoy it too then, or is
yeah,
it
I think I do. Like I do enjoy it to a degree, but I think I find it a little bit more tedious than I find it relaxing. But yeah, I guess like sort of my standpoint on it is like, I remember in skateboarding, like your board would get a lot of wear on it. Like you'd get razor tail from scraping your tail on the ground, or maybe you might chip your board or something. And I feel like there was kind of more of a reason to swap out your board. But when I look at my board, and the only real thing is maybe there's a little bit of wear on the graphic, and other than that, it's perfectly intact, I don't really see the need to swap it out. But I also understand the standpoint of where you're coming from, where you like to try a lot of different brands and even combine different parts to try to find like the perfect setup for you. So I do think that that is something that I would love to get into if I had all the money in the world to spend. But I think I try to like reel myself back from spending too much. I guess I kind of limit myself in that degree. I would like to, set up more boards and maybe I would get more used to it. But I think right now, when I look at my board and I don't see a whole lot of wear on it, I don't really see the need to swap out to a new board. Ultimately, I just find it more tedious than anything.
Yeah,
But
no, I get that. I think it depends on how easily the trucks go on. I think that's the most frustrating part, because either, like, I've encountered some boards where the holes were a little bit like slightly off by like a half a millimeter, so you feel the difference. You have to like put the screw in at a diagonal or whatever, or maybe they're not pre-threaded base plates, so it's a little tougher that way. But the one thing I think everyone can at least get a little satisfaction out of is gripping a board. That's part of the setup, right? And I love that. I don't know, getting it off in one piece, I don't know. It's something strangely satisfying specifically about gripping a board, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you totally nailed it. I think that's my biggest problem is the trucks. And I thought that was a me problem, but it's good to know that sometimes the holes aren't perfect and that you do have to put in a screw on a diagonal. I thought I was just messing something up, so that's a big relief.
No. Yeah, it just goes to show how accurate people who make fingerboard products have to be. And so, like, as long as I could get my trucks on, I'm not going to be too picky. If it's a pain, then yeah, please improve over time, but I understand why. Like, this stuff is hard, so.
But yeah, it's funny that you say that it's sort of like therapeutic and it's nice to watch sort of the build up, because I saw a fingerboard creator, his name's Yo Word on Instagram. He was kind of comparing fingerboarding to how people paint their nails. And I kind of agree with that, is it's like, it's very satisfying to see, like, I don't know, somebody do a really, really good job of like, I don't personally paint my nails, but for people who do paint their nails, like my wife is always watching these videos of these people doing these like immaculate nail jobs with like galaxies and stuff on them. And I'm like, that's probably really interesting to watch, because it's just like a chill activity. And like you said, it's kind of set up the same every way, but everybody has their own unique twist to it and can make it kind of more interesting in their perspective. So there's a lot of similarities there. And I thought that was kind of an interesting comparison.
That's a really cool analogy. I've never heard that, but it really is. Like, I feel like people wouldn't get into fingerboarding as much if you weren't able to customize it to your liking, at least to some degree, And obviously some people have more of the fun of, like you said, swapping out parts and finding exactly what really fits with them, or just exploring new avenues. But yeah, I like that a lot. There's a local here in Utah named X, and he always watch his clips. He's a crazy shredder, one of the best ones in our local area, and he always has painted fingernails. I'm like, dang, that looks so tough. Like, he pulls it off so well. So I thought of that as well, and he's a gnarly fingerboarder too. I just had to shout him out while I was thinking about that. But I like that. I really do think that's like, it's a form of expression for sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's the perfect way to put it. Speaking of setting up fingerboards, I noticed a lot of people will buy fingerboards just to collect them and not so much to ride them. Are you someone that likes to do that as well, or do you usually trade away your boards when you're not using them?
For how many I do have at this point, I think I counted them on a stream last night or something. It's definitely in the double digits.
Wow.
Yeah, I have quite a few. A tip, while we're on that subject, a lot of that I got last Black Friday. Black Friday deals in the fingerboarding scene are insane. So if you guys have ever wanted to try something out, just save up throughout the year and just spend it all on Black Friday. I'm telling you right now, like, their deals are unmatched. But a lot of that is from there. I do rotate in and out my boards, and I probably use at least every one of them to some degree, at least sometime throughout each month. Like, I really do like messing around with all of them. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's my ADHD or something. I'll always have 1 to 2 boards that I ride a majority of the time, like 66% of the time. That other third, I'm constantly swapping in and out rotations every week, and just riding, making sure that they're all getting a little bit of love, albeit mostly just tabletop desk love, like where there's no obstacles involved. I'm just throwing tricks on a flat ground space. So, but I do collect them to a degree if they're like sentimental value or something like a collab that I really like. I have two Collier decks that collabed with Cowply, and Cowply is like some of my favorite art in the scene. And so I set those up, and I was like, I just can't do it. I just can't. I can't shred them. The art is my favorite part. So stuff like that. I have a baleful split ply that's all done by hand. That's like very impressive. I've retired some of my aesthetic, my first sponsors boards, like especially my favorite one. I kind of retired that one, kind of hung the jersey in the rafters, so to speak. So I guess the collection side of me is only applicable to boards that I find sentimental value with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Totally. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny that in certain scenes, like, I don't know if you know too much about like Pokemon cards.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I used to be a black market dealer out on the playground back in the day. I got them banned at my school, believe it or not.
Really?
But not. Yeah, I had my own operation. I traded myself. My parents, I grew up pretty poor, and so I never had Pokemon cards of my own, but I wheeled and dealed until I had like a big collection. I haven't been keeping up with it lately, but I heard the scalpers are like nuts, and the collection aspect is at an all-time popularity high.
Yeah, it's kind of had like a resurgence, I guess, because like it kind of started with people around our age, like in the early 90s, early 2000s, when Pokemon had its big boom. And I think like now that all of those kids have grown up to be in the, late 20s, early 30s now, they all have money to actually be buying Pokemon cards. So they're just like buying up all the old cards that they ever wanted.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was at Walmart the other day, and some guy came in and he was trying to buy like an entire box of Pokemon cards, not just like the booster packs, but like a pack of 18, a box of 18 booster packs or whatever it is. And they were just allowing him to do it, and I was like, that's crazy. I don't really follow it too closely, but I do know a little bit about it. They like have started like actually like evaluating the value of cards. So they'll have this authenticator company called, let me see, I wrote it down here, Professional Sports Authenticator.
PSA,
yeah.
No, is it PSA?
PSA. They will take any cards and then they will grade them on how well the card is printed. So even if you pull the exact same shiny Charizard as me out of the same pack or whatever, and we both send it to PSA, they'll judge it on like the littlest things like printing defects and stuff, like, oh, maybe the borders are moved over half a centimeter, or there's a scratch on the card somewhere.
Frayed edge somewhere, or
yeah, exactly. Even if you pulled it directly out of the cellophane packaging, the same card can be worth a completely different value. It can be like, a PSA 9 is worth $20, but a PSA 10 of that same card is worth $5,000. So I was always wondering if fingerboarding would ever get into that realm, because people are always selling blems and stuff, and then they're really proud of the real products that they do sell that aren't blems. And I was wondering if maybe like down the road there would be some sort of grading service for fingerboards, or if we would also send it into PSA and try to get a PSA 10 Mike Schneider flat face board or something.
No way. Dude, this is like a really clever like brainstorm, or kind of like I don't know, going down the rabbit hole with that. Like that's a good point, because I do feel like there's certain brands, like some of the brands that come to mind when I think of like collection aspect, where I don't feel people usually set them up and shred them regularly. I feel like I see a lot of Beast Pants, Snake House, even I feel like Knife at this point. I feel like Knife has some of the craziest team and shredders ever. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a subset of people who definitely shred those boards, but I feel like those are just very like collector centric. Like people post on Reddit all the time like a huge Knife collection. So what do you think makes a brand collectible in your opinion? Like, why are these certain brands like so collectible while the other ones are like only bought for function?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think part of it is like almost kind of like the Supreme effect in clothing, where the company Supreme would kind of do these limited release runs of clothes. And because it was so limited and hard to acquire, that's what made it so popular. And I think that's part of the fact with a lot of these fingerboard companies is they do stay quite small. And I don't know if some of them are still just one-man teams or if they do have employees under them. But for the most part, I think a lot of these companies run with just a couple people. And I think that's almost done intentionally. I think they know that if they did supply boards all the time, that they probably could sell them pretty often, but I think building up that hype and having that limited kind of aura around the board makes it a little bit more special to get and finally get your hands on one of them. So, but I think also it's just comes down to, I guess there's two more factors. I think one, it really comes down to the craftsmanship of the actual board. I think all of those companies that you listed make like magnificent boards, and every time I've seen them in person, they're really, really great, and there's not a single mistake or anything wrong with them. They're just molded it to perfection. So I think that's a big reason why they're so popular. But I think also because, like you said, they have incredible teams behind them that they support and that they send boards to help sort of bring brand recognition. And recently, Knife just put out a whole full-length video on YouTube. I don't know if you saw that. It's called Utilitarian.
Holy, yeah. Like I don't know who told me to go check it out. I don't remember, but wow. I think
bananas.
that's like going, it's like I think that's fingerboard history. Like, I don't mean to like be like over exaggerating, but I truly believe that's like one of the best edits ever made. Period.
Yeah, I agree. It's insane.
Yeah, so they've earned their spot. Like, people can be mad all they want not getting their hands on a knife board, but I mean, it's for good reason when you have a creative direction like that, so dialed, so high quality. Like, you look at that is like the quality of some of the best like skateboarding edits, but for fingerboarding. It holds its own. Like, I would be confident in saying, hey, you like that sick skateboarding edit? This is probably better. Honestly, like, it's good.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah, they have such like a vibe to the way that they filmed everything and all of the B-roll that they used and the effects and everything. Really just tied the whole video together. Yeah,
man.
The music choice too. Yeah.
Holy crap. It all comes down to music, in my opinion. The way you cut. And like, obviously, like, camera angles and stuff really matter, but if you have the wrong song, I feel like everything's shot from the get-go. So
yeah, absolutely. So speaking of boards that are, really well crafted and good companies, I've always wondered that, like, with USFBL, they do a whole contest about like best trick of the year, and I think that's a great way to highlight maybe the best fingerboarder of the year. But I think just as equal of praise and kind of like a equal part of the community, I guess I could say, is people who make products themselves. Like, I think the fingerboarders are important, of course, but I think the brands who actually bring those products to all the fingerboarders that enjoy this hobby are really just as important. So I was wondering if you think there should be some sort of like recognition for people who make the best boards. Maybe it'd be like an award show or something, or kind of like in the same vein as, I don't know if you know too much about in the design world, but there's a paint company called Pantone. And every year they'll pick like the Pantone color of the year. I can't remember what it is this year, but they'll pick like orange or pink. And it's like a very specific hue that they're like, okay, this is, the color that you should be using in all of your designs. Obviously, they're not the end all be all, but it kind of like points people in the right direction. And I find that I'm constantly getting comments and stuff in my posts being like, what board should I get? And I'm like, I don't know, there's like 10 million different companies I could recommend to you because they're all good. But maybe it would be cool to like stamp officially like, this is the 2025 board of the year sort of thing, or obstacle of the year.
No,
What are your thoughts about that?
Dang, Hunk, we just need to tap into your brain a little bit more. I feel like you're like bringing up subjects I've never heard anyone say. I think that would be cool. Obviously, when it comes to like quality, I feel like people can be subjective as well with that. I know, like, I mean, an example of that is like, I really like rounded edges on my boards. And some people are like, that's kind of pointless. Once you grip the board and you rip it, like, it naturally becomes rounded over time anyways to some degree, So I know some people don't really care about that. So I think feathers will be ruffled definitely with whoever is chosen for those awards, but I still think it would be really cool to highlight some companies that at the end of the day, they have some sort of quality behind it, especially if they're getting an award or something. I think that's a really cool idea because this stuff is not easy. After making like decks myself, I'm like, holy crap. Like, I've been critical, I've been real and raw on my channel, obviously, but I'm like, dang, it is way harder than you would think to make a high quality board every single time and at the consistency that a lot of these companies are doing. So being recognized for that, I think there's, like you said, there's so many cool companies out there, and giving them recognition could go a long way, especially like providing that motivation. Because when you're a small company, I bet it's overwhelming because the demand is huge, but it's just like one person most of the time making these things and trying to put it out at a timely manner so that people are still satisfied and still wanting the product, So I think that's like a really cool reward system. I don't know, like, if people would want to apply to that. I don't know if they would want to, like, the farmers, like the fair where people enter all their stuff in the fair. I feel like it would have to be something similar to that, where you're like, hey, anyone can enter their boards to this official spot. We'll have a line of judges, and we'll kind of come up with a first, second, and third place and honorable mentions and stuff like that. That would be really cool. Like you said, like FBL might have to do something similar to that or something. I could see them doing that. Who do you think would be good at like setting that up? maybe you. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I could be. I think you would actually be good at it because you've reviewed so many boards in the past that you have like a good knowledge of what you're looking for, and even small details, like you said, of like the rounded edges. But yeah,
appreciate
maybe
that.
even USA FBL could even do something like that. I kind of agreed with you about how it could ruffle some feathers of like, you know, picking one winner for the whole year, but it's really the same thing as trick of the year for any fingerboarder or whatever. Like, you know, some people are going to get their feelings hurt, but I think at the end of the day, it's really just friendly competition. And I think a lot of these companies don't really need it because, like, for instance, I don't know if this is like a incremental series, but if Mike Schneider's on his G16 board, that leads me to believe that he's had like at least 16 iterations of the same board that he's trying to perfect over and over again. And like, that's something that I'm super thankful for, again, to bring it back to the first topic, is that like these people, even like G Sheets, how they just came out with their version 3 of their grip tape formula. The fact that these guys aren't just like going to hang up their hat at the end of the day and be like, oh, you know, I made a good enough board and people are buying it, whatever. They have the drive to actually like push forward and keep working on it. Even with you, with your Cash Dex board, I see you constantly being like, well, I want to try this same mold, but with a different size to make sure that it works with all sizes that I'm going to be wanting to sell. And I think that's a really cool mindset, that people aren't willing to just like settle for mediocrity. They're willing to work hard to make the product that they really envision in their head. So I don't know if people really do need that friendly competition, but I've always liked friendly competition.
I totally agree with you. I think that's what's really naturally weeds out the people who are in it strictly for the money or just to push out a product and just chill. Yeah, I feel like those companies really separate themselves very quickly. You can totally tell. And I feel like the companies that stick around and find the most success, they get the satisfaction out of that constant improvement and that constant innovation and that constant brainstorming. I feel like that's what keeps them in it. Not necessarily the money in all aspects. Like, it definitely helps, and you need money to create the product to some degree, but you can really tell what their motivations and their intentions are long term. At least I feel like we've seen a million new deck companies and a million new whatever companies start and then end within the same year, and it's because they don't get that satisfaction out of the innovation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like, yeah, maybe those companies don't really need the friendly competition of some sort of like, you know, board of the year, but I think it could, you know, light a fire under some people. I know for me, when I watch other fingerboarders and I see them land some trick that I've been trying and they just do it effortlessly, it doesn't make me mad. It just makes me like fired up to go try it myself. So I don't know. I would hope that that sort of same sentiment could be carried over to boards and even obstacles too. Like, it could be like, you know, best fabricator doing metal work and making rails, or best person to make concrete ledges, or whatever it could be. So, and like,
we need more metal work, by the way. Shouting
yeah,
out
100%.
all you welders out there. Like, I feel like that's less tapped than most obstacle companies. Like, we need more welders who can put together some sick rails or some sick whatever obstacles you can dream up of. I think that would be really cool. Figured I'd throw that in there because I feel like I don't see a lot of those homemade. Like, I know Garrett, I know you, was it you who I was talking about, Garrett Jenner or Giner, or how do you
Garrett Jenner, but he always jokingly calls himself Garrett Jenner.
That's so funny.
Hydration with Garrett Vaginer 101.
I'm kind of newer to him. I've been watching him for about a year, but he does his like homemade welded fingerboard obstacles, and I just think those are so sick. And he's like, I don't see a lot of that. Like, I see like the grind rights and stuff, and their products are amazing, but I don't see like those like just one person going into the scene and making that too much. So I figured I'd plug that in there just for my selfish reasons. So
yeah, well, it's funny you bring that up, because one thing that I found really interesting about him is I've been following him for like probably like a decade, because he's been a skateboard YouTuber all that time. And the interesting thing about him is if you go to his videos and sort by popular, I think it's like 10 out of the top 15 videos are about fingerboarding. And I was like, what? That's crazy. I always thought that skateboarding had like a big chokehold on the YouTube algorithm and was going to get way more views and stuff than fingerboarding content. But it surprises me that, you know, there is so much interest in fingerboarding content. And it's nice that, you know, we're starting our own sort of YouTube series here to kind of keep that trend going, because I think it's sort of a missed platform in the fingerboard community. People really focus on Instagram because there's a lot of community there and a lot of talking and, you know, sharing of clips, but I feel like YouTube is a little bit neglected. So I'm glad that we're doing this together.
Yeah, same, dude. I was looking forward to it this whole time when you were like, hey, let's do it today, and I'm like, all right, no hesitation. I'm really glad to. And YouTube is widely accessible. I feel like everyone watches YouTube now. It used to be kind of weird back in the day when it was like new. They're like, whoa, video sharing platform, what is that? Why are you watching like homemade videos from other people? But now it's just like common. Like people watch more YouTube than any other type of media. I think I think there was like a longitudinal study done for the past 5 years. I don't remember what the results were, but it was shocking, the ratio of people that will watch YouTube over like Netflix or cable television or whatever. It's like
Really?
become
That's
huge.
crazy.
So yeah. So it makes sense why people, and I just think it's like fingerboarding's just, I feel like no matter who you are, maybe people will try to be cool and project and be like, oh, that's kind of corny. But something about seeing people throw cool little tricks on a tiny skateboard is just, I don't know, it's just naturally entertaining. Like people who know nothing about fingerboarding, so many times strangers have like seen me doing it and they're like, that looks super fun. Like at Costco the other day, I was throwing some kickflips. They're like, can I try? That looks so fun.
That's awesome.
Like, everyone's like super curious about it. And I think that's what YouTube can do for the fingerboarding scene, is those people who are curious can kind of dive in a little bit deeper than they probably would have, because they're never going to encounter the Instagram space. It's very hard unless it's like a reel or something that a creator posted. But I feel like there's just bubbles of fingerboarding on Instagram, but YouTube, the algorithm could shove it in front of anyone's face, you know?
Yeah,
So,
totally. Yeah. I 100% agree. But yeah, to go along with how we were talking about like the different communities and how there's YouTube and Instagram and stuff, one thing that's obviously a big part of those communities is commenters or people that DM you. And I know that a lot of sort of the default DMs that you'll receive as a fingerboard creator are, hey, can I have a free board, or can you sponsor me? And I always found that really funny, because even before I started my own brand with the whole Dark Hearts thing, I was still getting DMs of people asking me, hey, can you sponsor me? I'm like, dude, I only have one board. If I give you this board, the content ends here, bro. Like that's it.
we're homeless. We're homeless after this.
And like there's like 10 other kids. I can't just give it to you specifically. I guess like one thing that I always found funny was like sort of the more stranger comments in DMs. So I was kind of curious if you've ever received any, but I'll give you kind of an example of one that I received to maybe give you some ideas. So it was on TikTok, and I got this DM, and this lady just says, do not talk to my son. And I was like, oh my God, that's very like foreboding. Like, what did I do? And then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, so you expect me to go look at your list of followers and then cross-reference that with every single post that I've made to see if maybe one of your followers commented on me. Then I have to figure out who your son is. And I'm like, what? That's so confusing. So now I just assume everybody is her son. So if you don't receive a comment back from me, I'm sorry, you might have to talk that up with your mom.
That's so funny. That is weird too.
I know.
Yeah. Especially, that's a good point. Like now I'm going to be anxious anytime someone DMs me. I'm going to be like, crap. Are they actually 18? Is mom going to come after me if I like say, thanks for saying that my post is cool or whatever? But I do get a lot of DMs, and I do appreciate it. I feel like people have kind of listened to me in my videos, and whenever I say, hey, reach out anytime if you have questions or something, a majority of my DMs are just questions, like pretty regular questions, like about products or like how they can do a trick better or stuff like that. I feel like the weirdest ones are the ones, like, I'm a weird guy, so it takes a lot to kind of like weird me out. Like usually I'm always trying to see like, oh, I can kind of see why they would ask that or whatever. But the main thing that weirds me out is when people like see something that you've posted about, even if it's like a long time ago, and they'll like DM you and they'll say, hey man, I'll buy those relics for whatever price, or I'll buy, like, just like saying, almost like telling you, hey, I'm buying these from you without even asking, you know? Like it almost feels like DM robbery or something. I don't know. So
hey, I'm taking your wheels and you're taking this money.
Yeah. No bartering. This is the price. Just give me the damn wheels, kind of thing. Yeah. And so I don't blame them though. Relics are great. But like I get a lot of stuff like that. Surprisingly, I don't get a ton of people, at least in DMs, asking me for free stuff. I feel like that's mostly in comments and stuff. And I want to plug this real quick. I'm a big believer in this. If you guys are fingerboarding to get sponsored or like a huge, it's cool to have a long-term goal for sure. But I don't think your long-term goal should be to get sponsored. I think your long-term goal should be to just have fun and get good at fingerboarding, and everything else will follow, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm not a big, like, I'm sponsored by Aesthetic, but it's not for my fingerboard skills. That's for sure. And so I'm a big believer. I feel like that can kind of take the fun out and burn people out. And I've seen it happen, like personally, while we're on the subject of DMs, where people are like, yeah, I'm a little bit burnt out. Like, I feel like I'm never going to get sponsored. And I feel like that kind of dampens your experience. Don't do that to yourself. Just remind yourself what clicked with fingerboarding in the first place, and just continue to enjoy it. Don't make it a job before it needs to be. Like, come on, just have fun, get better. And that's how most sponsorships happen nowadays, are very like natural. You're not going to force anything. These companies are very careful with who they put on their teams, and they're watching. Just use the products that you enjoy, get better at fingerboarding, have fun, create content, be imaginative. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you still have a sick hobby at the end of the day. Sorry to be on a tangent, but I just hear that a lot. Like, people are so concerned with getting sponsored. And I'm like, I'd be having just as much fun if I wasn't sponsored right now. I promise you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah, to preface it, I will say that not all of my comments are like crazy or anything, or all my DMs. Most people are very nice. So
exactly.
I'm really grateful for that. But
I agree.
Yeah, I think like the obsession with sponsorship, I get it. Like, it's cool to see that other people are getting free products. And I definitely felt jealous when I was starting off. I'm like, damn, that guy got a whole package. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree with you that like it shouldn't be something that you should hyper fixate on. There is sort of like three main ways that I would say that you can get sponsored if that's something you are interested in.
You guys are getting the deets. Listen in, dial in.
Take your notepads out and jot down some notes here. Okay, so the number one would be obviously being good at fingerboarding. But the thing is that you're competing against people that have probably been doing it for like a decade, maybe even 2 decades at this point. So it's really hard to stand out just from like being good at tricks alone. Like, both me and Min aren't people that are like amazing at fingerboarding, and that's why we're sponsored.
You're getting kind of nasty though, Hunk. I've been watching your progress. Some of the stuff you've been flinging recently, you guys need to check out some of his recent clips. What was it? Double tray flip or something like that. Which one was it?
Double tray flip, yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. When you landed that, I was like, what? He had that in his bag? Anyways, continue. I just had to give you your flowers.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely been on my grind trying to get better. But part of that was just because I didn't want to be just the content creator. I want to kind of have both aspects of it. But that sort of leads me into the next point, is that you can also be a content creator. And I think that's primarily why me and Mint are both sponsored. I don't know for sure, but that's definitely sort of the sentiment that I've been feeling, is that like we're able to do a good job of promoting the brand and getting more awareness around the brands. And that's a really good outlet if that's something you want to do, if you're really interested in making content and making videos. That's a great way to get sponsored and get your name out there, is to just review boards that you're getting, or do tutorials like I've been doing. Or even like I did a series called Road to Sponsorship for a while, where I was trying to learn a really crazy rail trick, and I would post it every day. And that's actually how I got noticed by my sponsor right now, Tack Fingerboards.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, he DM'd me and he's like, hey, I've been seeing your Road to Sponsorship videos. Like, I'd love to send you a board. And then we just started a relationship from there. So it can be as simple as, just coming up with like a little series or something to get people's attention and just get your name out there. And then the third way, which is also kind of leads into, getting your name out there, is just being like friendly in the community. And that can be like just commenting on people's Instagrams and being really active and reposting and sharing people's posts in your stories, just like showing people love and giving them their flowers when they deserve it. That can go a really long way. And I've definitely followed people back who have been showing me a lot of love. And I'm sure other fingerboard creators can agree that it does feel nice to, get support. So we want more of those kind of people in the community. And if you're someone who is lucky enough to live somewhere with events, or if you have an interest in setting up events yourself, that's also a really, really great way to connect with other fingerboarders, is to go to events, meet other brand owners. And if you can like shake the right hands and be friends with the right people, that might lead you to get sponsors too. Like, I know lots of people who aren't really even fingerboard creators and will just post clips on Instagram, but they're very friendly and they go to almost every event and they're well known within the community. And that's led them to get tons of different sponsors, just because they have such a good connection with people that if they're going to be riding a specific brand, that really speaks volumes about that product. And that's exactly what the brands want, is like positive awareness about their brand and getting more people into the activity overall. So yeah, I think like those three are really the main things you should be focusing on, and almost like more so focused on just like, you know, meeting people, being friendly in the community. And if, you know, content creation is something you're interested in, that's a bonus too. But I really wouldn't focus too much on trying to be the best fingerboarder or trying to, you know, land the craziest trick and get noticed by a sponsor, because chances are somebody else has already done that trick and they've already done it better than you.
Well, you just ask yourself, is CD Playa still alive? Then
exactly.
Yes. Someone is much better. That he will never, until the dude dies, he's gonna be one of the greatest. Like I always think of CD Playa. Like I can't watch his clips too much because it just makes me feel like crap about my own skills. But yeah, I totally agree with you on that, man. And I feel like those are like the backbone of the fingerboard scene. The people that like share their clips just because they're stoked they landed it, or like just because they're really passionate about fingerboarding. They're showing up to events and they're just making friends and hanging out, because at the end of the day, that's what's keeping a lot of us in this. Whether you're like virtually hanging out with people or interacting over Instagram or YouTube, I feel like I've heard so many people who have never interacted with the community as a whole but have fingerboarded. It kind of plateaus a little bit for them, where they're still fingerboarding and stuff, they're still having fun, but it's just a whole different world when you get involved with the supportive community. You're making those friends, you're making those connections, and I feel like people aren't dumb. Like, they know your intentions, they know when you're being genuine and when you're not. So just make sure you're always being genuine too, that you're making those connections, you're supporting people for the right reasons because you really do want them to succeed. You really do F with what they're doing. I really believe in what you said. So good point. You guys have heard it. There's no excuses. You're gonna get sponsored now.
Yeah, exactly. Just follow these 3 easy steps.
yeah. Very. We could make the thumbnail right now. Not gonna.
Exactly. But yeah, I think like not being so upfront about like, you know, asking people in the DMs, hey, can you sponsor me? Because I think every single brand owner will tell you that that's annoying and they'll probably just ignore you. But yeah, like making your intentions known in a more supportive way, I guess is the best way to put it. So even if you can't afford to buy a specific brand, you know, you can, if they post a new drop, you can put that in your story. And that goes a long way, because that's spreading to all the people that follow you. And even just leaving a nice comment can also brighten someone's day. And if they're constantly seeing, you know, positive comments from you, then, you know, they might give you a follow back and check out your clips. So
it's behavioral science at that point. I've behavioral science has always fascinated me, and you're pairing yourself with good moments. That's what it is. So every time they see your name come up and you're always being supportive, they're fun, good comments, people are naturally, it's human nature to start seeing them as a positive thing. Like when it's like maybe your best friend, when they walk in the room, you're like, oh man, life just got better, because you pair them with all those good moments that you've had with them over time. So I think it's very similar with how you interact with people in the fingerboard community, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that's just a good life lesson in general that can be applied to all sorts of different disciplines. So yeah, that's great advice.
Accessible podcast to all. You don't even have to fingerboard at this point. We're just talking about life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much all I had in terms of topics. One last thing that I wanted to mention is that I know you've been really working hard on your new deck brand, and I was wondering if you had any updates for us on regards to that.
I do. I don't want to like burn everyone out talking about it too much, but I just dropped a teaser, like little edit. It was just a fun, casual edit, nothing nuts in it. Just like very vibey is what I was going for, like just hanging out with the bros on a kitchen marble countertop. And I unveiled the first graphic that will be in the first drop. I still have a lot of Blem decks, unfortunately. You'll be receiving technically a Blem as well. That'll be shipping out pretty soon.
I'm excited.
But I just want the feedback of the mold itself, and I'll dial in the specifics later. But I will be having a drop of those Blems, because they're functional boards. And they're just sitting around, and I'm like, I put a lot of effort into these. I'll just sell them for super cheap, and hopefully people can enjoy and give me some feedback and get more of a wider audience giving me feedback about the mold. And who knows, maybe someone will pick it up and know exactly what the Blem and how it happened, and they can give me more pointers and stuff too. So I'm pretty excited. I'm in it for the long haul. I really do think this is going to be like a lifelong hobby for me. Like I think I'm just going to always be making fingerboards from now on, even if it's just for myself, because I think it's such a cool, like, artistic, I don't know, it feels therapeutic. I mean, I feel like everything with fingerboarding feels weirdly therapeutic, and it's always good to have something that you can kind of take your mind off of things and just like focus on something. It's good for me and my ADHD brain to just focus on this one little thing with minor details that I have to get right. It's been really rewarding, and I think you can probably relate when it comes to dark hearts too. So really excited. Go check it out on Instagram if you guys want to see. They're going to be very small drops. I'm not like a big company or anything. This is literally just me, little passion project, and I'll just drop boards whenever I have a handful of boards that I need to get rid of or whatever. I'll toss them on there for people to enjoy. And I do have a mellow mold that I'm very excited for that's coming in as well. So, because it felt wrong. I was like, I made a really good mold that's accessible to everyone, but I like my flat ass boards. So we have the mellow mold as well, because I love this mold. It's my main driver right now, but the mellow one will definitely be more my style as well. So we'll have the accessible mold for everyone, and then for you flat ass deck enjoyers, I've got you covered as well. So very
That's
excited.
awesome. Cool.
Any news with Dark Hearts? I guess we're having a sponsorship by Dark Hearts and Cast Decks over here, but it's just fun talking about cool projects and what people are working on. So
yeah, totally. So I'm kind of gearing up to, I mentioned this in the last podcast, but I'm gearing up to drop a bunch of videos in December. I won't really spoil the details just yet, but basically I kind of want to do this whole Christmas theme for the next Dark Hearts drop. So
that's so cool. I love Christmas, so that's
me too.
I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure what direction I want to go in, if I want to do like sweaters or shirts or whatnot, but I'm just kind of working on the designs, kind of smoothing out the kinks and stuff, but eventually I'll have a little bit more information to show you guys, so I'll definitely keep you posted. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to mention, you were saying that just like doing anything sort of fingerboard related is so therapeutic, and I really agree with that we kind of stare at screens all day, like, me and Mint, our voices are coming through your screen right now. Like,
you're under our trance.
And like when I work, I'm always working on a computer, and when I come home, I want to watch stuff on the TV, and it's just like screens everywhere. And it's really nice and relaxing to just be able to do a hobby that doesn't require any screens, and it's just you and the board and you trying to figure out how to land tricks. Like that's just my favorite feeling ever. So I just wanted to shove that in there.
Oh no, I'm glad you did. I think that's why it stuck for me, honestly. Like, and winters in Utah are brutal here, and I've talked about it before, but seasonal depression definitely like comes for me every year. Like, not intensely. I know it impacts others like way worse than me, but it still affects me. And I feel like last winter, fingerboarding came into my life at the perfect time, because I was just like kind of stuck with screened hobbies. Like a lot of my job, I'd say half of my job is at a computer as well. And I come home and, like you said, maybe there's a show, or I'm a big gamer as well, and I love video games. But when you're doing only screens, it does affect you over time. It sounds like such an old person thing to say or whatever, but it's so true though. And I love playing basketball too, but you need other people to play basketball with, and sometimes that's just not possible during the winter. And so fingerboarding has just been that accessible thing where literally all you need is this and you're set. You just need this and a flat space. You don't even need a flat space. You can just go find something else. Like, I think that's the beauty of it, is you can literally put it in your pocket and you always have something to do, something to work on, something to have fun with, and something to be creative with. So I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a great way to end the podcast, 100%.
Yeah, it's like the world is your fingerboard park. Like you can even fingerboard on your knee if you want to.
That's awesome. How I learned kickflips. I won't even lie. So.
Yeah, that's how I learned how to ollie. So there you go.
There we go.
That's going to do it for episode 2 of the Split Ply podcast. Thanks again, Mint, for joining me, and we'll be back for the next episode very soon.
All right. Love you guys. Take it easy.
Peace.